In a world of scattered nations and countless languages, God chose one man to begin a story that would change everything. His name was Abram. He was living a quiet, ordinary life when a divine voice called out to him. "Leave your country," God said, "your people and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." It was a staggering command, but it came with an even more staggering promise. God promised Abram three things: to make him into a great nation, to make his name great, and to bless all the peoples of the earth through him. With nothing but faith to guide him, Abram obeyed. He packed up his life, left everything familiar, and stepped into the unknown, trusting a God he couldn't see. Years rolled by. Abram's journey was long, and his faith was tested. God changed his name to Abraham, meaning father of many, a constant reminder of the promise. But there was a glaring problem. Abraham and his wife Sarah were childless. They waited, they hoped, they prayed. They grew old, and still the promised heir had not arrived. It seemed impossible. Then, just when all human hope was gone, God performed a miracle. When Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah was 90, well past the age of childbearing, she gave birth to a son. They named him Isaac, which means laughter, because God had turned their years of sorrow and doubt into pure, unadulterated joy. Isaac wasn't just any child. He was the child of the promise. The future of the great nation God had sworn to build rested on his small shoulders. Abraham's love for his son was immeasurable. And then God spoke again. The command that followed was the most difficult, the most heart-wrenching test a father could ever face. "Abraham, yes, Lord," he replied. "Take your son," God said, "your only son Isaac whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." Imagine the weight of those words. The son he had waited a lifetime for, the very embodiment of God's promise, and now God was asking for him back. This was the ultimate test of faith, a command that defied all logic and reason. Yet Abraham did not argue. He didn't question or delay. The Bible tells us that early the next morning he got up, saddled his donkey, gathered the wood for the offering, and took Isaac and 2 servants with him. He set out for the place God had told him about. For 3 days they walked in silence. Can you imagine the thoughts racing through Abraham's mind? Every step was a battle, every breath an act of faith. Isaac, young and innocent, walked beside his father, completely unaware of the horrifying purpose of their journey. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the mountain in the distance. He turned to his servants. "Stay here with the donkey," he instructed them. "The boy and I will go over there. We will worship hand, then we will come back to you." Think about that statement. We will come back. Even in this darkest moment, Abraham held on to a sliver of hope, a profound trust that God had a plan he couldn't see. He believed that somehow, even if Isaac were sacrificed, God would keep his promise. Perhaps he would even raise Isaac from the dead. As father and son began their final ascent up the mountain, Isaac carried the wood and Abraham Abraham carried the fire and the knife. The silence was broken by Isaac's curious voice. "Father, yes, my son." "The fire and wood are here," Isaac said, "but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" This is the most poignant question in the entire story. Abraham's response, spoken perhaps with a trembling voice but an unwavering heart, is one of the greatest declarations of faith ever recorded. "My son," he said, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering." They reached the place God had shown them. With heavy hands, Abraham built an altar. He carefully arranged the wood. Then he bound his beloved son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. The moment had come. Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. In that heart-stopping instant, a voice from heaven shattered the silence. "Abraham, Abraham." It was the angel of the Lord. "Here I am," he replied. "Do not lay a hand on the boy," the angel said. "Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Abraham lowered the knife, his body lightly trembling with relief and awe. He looked up, and there, caught in a thicket by its horns, was a ram God had provided. Just as Abraham had declared in faith, the Lord had supplied the lamb for the sacrifice. Abraham took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering in place of his son. He called that place Yahweh-Yir, which means the Lord will provide. And on that mountain, God spoke to Abraham again, reaffirming his covenant with an oath. "Because you have done this," God said, "and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you, and through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me." Isaac lived. The promise continued. Abraham's faith had been tested in the most extreme way imaginable, and it had proven true. This powerful story is about so much more than a man being tested. It's a profound lesson in trust, especially when obedience comes at a great personal cost. It teaches us to believe in God's promises, even when the path forward seems dark and makes no sense. But more than that, this event on Mount Moriah is a foreshadowing, a glimpse into a much greater story. It points forward thousands of years to another father who would also lead his only son up a hill to be sacrificed. But this time, there would be no substitute. This time, God himself would provide the ultimate lamb, his son, Jesus Christ, who would be sacrificed for the sins of the entire world. Abraham's story shows us the heart of a faithful man, but it also reveals the heart of a loving God, a God who provides, a God who keeps his promises. Abraham climbed that mountain believing God would be faithful, and God was it. Because true faith isn't about knowing the outcome, it's about trusting the one who holds the outcome in his hands. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of faith. We'll see you in the next video.